Jesus said, "Very truly I tell you, anyone who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, but climbs in by another way, is a thief and a bandit. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will not follow a stranger, but they will run from him because they do not know the voice of strangers." Jesus used this figure of speech with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. So again, Jesus said to them, "Very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who come before me are thieves and bandits, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved and will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. That is exactly what Easter is all about, life abundant. It's a time to reaffirm our faith in baptism and examine what a life of resurrection and abundance looks like. During Easter time, we make our grandest claims. We profess a crucified, risen, and ascended Lord, audacious claims that require bold responses. And then, smack dab in the middle of Easter, here we are on what is often called Good Shepherd Sunday. A Sunday whose lessons and iconography all too easily conjure images of fluffy cotton ball sheep bounding across verdant, rolling hills while a ruddy, caring shepherd looks over them. No doubt, preachers far and wide are telling their flocks this morning about the sheep herding lifestyle and just how stupid sheep can be. And it's tempting, believe me, an easy laugh at the expense of half-witted animals. But I don't know any shepherds, and all I know of them comes from our scripture and the internet. And my interactions with sheep are limited. Petting zoos, cheese, and the roast-legged lamb we do every year Easter. So, I guess I'm left with those fluffy cotton ball sheep that jump the fence at night as I fall asleep. But it's exactly those fluffy sheep that have nothing to do with Easter and very little to do with our Good Shepherd. Today's lessons are anything but warm and fuzzy. Were you listening to the lesson from 1 Peter read by Nancy? Take a few seconds, open your bulletin, and just look at the first few lines. It's not easy. That's hard stuff, not easy to swallow. Then, in the lesson of Acts, there's a picture of early Christian community. And initially, it sounds delightful, having the goodwill of all the people. That is, until we realize the full extent of commitment in that community. I'll assume then that we're all ready to pool our resources into a common purse and give to all that have need. I'll have sign-up sheets in the narthex after the service. But these are the places that our Good Shepherd will lead us. places of whole claims, radical community and hospitality, and a non-violent justice that makes absolutely no sense in this world. The first thing I think we need to note from the gospel is where and how Christ says the shepherd will lead. The metaphorical sheep in Christ's teaching are already in the fold, that place of safety and comfort. The shepherd, we're told, will enter by the gate, not by another way, as the thief and bandits do, and the shepherd will lead his flock out. Out. Not in, out. Out of the safe place, out of the comfort of the fold. The sheep know the shepherd's voice and follow him out of their comfort and safety, trusting, inasmuch as I suppose sheep are able to trust, that the shepherd knows what he is doing and has their best interests at heart. It can be both thrilling and terrifying to leave the fold. After all, one must leave the fold in order to graze and find water. It's necessary for life to leave the comfort of the fold. Taking the step out into life is exhilarating and tough work. It's not necessarily all clover and alfalfa outside of the fold, as I'm sure all too many of us know. There are bound to be valleys and rocky hillsides that are nothing but tumbleweeds and bramble. Even though the journey must include these barren wastelands, the shepherd leads and protects. His rod and his staff they comfort. Not even idyllic Psalm 23 promises plenty of clover. In that valley there is plenty of bramble through which we must journey. And it is Psalm 22 that precedes the 23rd. My God, why have you forsaken me, and are so far from my cry and from the words of my distress? It has been suggested that Psalm 23 is actually the words of praise at the end of Psalm 22. If we are discerning, we will hear the shepherd's voice and be led from 22 to 23 and in to safer pasture. The picture of community in the lesson from Acts is just one of those places, a place of radical community and radical hospitality. The life of those early Christians is one that many try to imitate with varying degrees of success. What's important is not to be that exact community, not to emulate, but to embody that community. What they practice is what the church is all about: teaching, fellowship, empowering the needy, the breaking of bread, spending time together, and being open to word and world. These are the practices of a radical community that is filled with the Spirit. If the community is listening to its shepherd's voice, that is what the community will be. That is what the Spirit enables. Sometimes the journey is long and arduous, as it was, I'm sure, for our brothers and sisters in the Presbyterian Church in America. After years of discernment and journeying, the Presbyterian Church voted this last week to allow the ordination of non-celibate and openly gay people in its church. A bold, audacious claim and a sign of God's radical hospitality, a step closer to Christ's abundant life for gay and lesbian people in his church, and for all God's people. Yet, these moments aren't the end of the story, for there is always room to grow in abundant life. Christ said that the thief comes to kill and steal and destroy. That is not God's business. God is in the business of life. From the very mystery of the incarnation to Christ's death, resurrection, and ascension, God has established a covenant of life, a covenant of life abundant. God is calling his people out of the fold and into life. St. Peter's words may not seem to add up, but God's justice doesn't involve violence or death. Peter was speaking to slaves and exiles, those who had no voice and could never hope to have a voice in their society. How then were they to respond to the injustices would most likely have ended in death and destruction. But you and I have a voice. We have power. We can stand up. We can take on injustices and oppression nonviolently. We can be bearers of the fact that God's justice is not one that ends in death, but one that ends in abundant life. It's an audacious claim to make, but one that is necessary for an Easter faith. While portions of the journey may be dark and difficult, you can make out the shepherd just ahead. He leads the way out into abundant life. This is the way that makes those bold claims, the way of radical community and hospitality, the way of God's justice, the way of resurrection. Christ came that they